Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons Insurance, Penrite Oil, Hare and Forbes Machinery House, and Pace Farm Eggs. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Classic Restos. On this week's show, it's time for something military. But before I go any further, these people want you to go and see them. It's thanks to Shannons. Ask about multi-policy discounts and sign up for the Shannons Club. Call 134646 for a quote and see more at shannons.com.au. For oils, coolants, additives and technical assistance, Oil Right, use Penrite. And Hare and Forbes has the range. Buy online at machineryhouse.com.au. You know, all types of classic vehicles make up our automotive hobby. And our military vehicles, well, they play a major part, no pun intended. What you may not realise is what vital roles our big names in the car industry offered our military. Well, how good is this? Welcome to the 37th Annual GPA Swim-In and Military Vehicle Gathering. Some backdrops and working environments just don't get any better. We return to Corowa in New South Wales on the banks of the glorious Murray River, where Victoria is just literally 200 feet away. Tranquility, a peaceful area of regional Australia. Established in 1858, and this gorgeous region is home to around 16,000 people. This military event is the largest in Australia and has now been coming here almost 40 years. Now that is something. The big automotive names built military vehicles, including motorcycles, to the likes of Harley-Davidson, Indian, BSA and others. Car and truck manufacturers played an incredible part in building reliable vehicles that at times were put through horrendous conditions during the war effort, as too were our soldiers that drove them. These vehicle brands were Ford, Chevrolet and of course Chrysler Dodge. An amazing testament to each brand involved. These vehicles represent a time of unrest, a sense of eeriness, but every one of these classic military vehicles had a job to do. They deserve mechanical respect, and every one of these vehicles has its own story. Now it's my job to bring you those stories. First cab off the rank, this sensational military gathering here at Corowa in New South Wales for 2016. You know what I have to say, love being educated as I go, because this vehicle here I absolutely know nothing about. To tell us more is Neville. How are you, mate?
I'm going pretty well, thanks, old cobber.
That's the way. Now, Neville, what have we got here? Tell us about it.
Well, it's a Bren Gun Carrier. It was made in 1942 in the South Australian Railway workshops. It started out as an LG 2A and it was converted to a B2A, which was to the radio conversion, and then has since been converted back to a 2A, which is a Bren Gun Carrier.
Now tell us, what is a Bren gun?
It's a machine gun. It's got a holds a 20-round magazine, very accurate. The troops used them all the time.
How many of these vehicles were made?
There was in virtually a bit over 12 months, Australia made 5,500 of them. There's about 83,000 made worldwide, and they sent 230, I think it was, to the Middle East to Monty, and 90% of them ended up in the workshops because the sand, they couldn't steer them in the sand. They're the only tracked vehicle in the world that actually warped the tracks for primary steering, and that takes a lot of the load off the brakes at the back because they haven't got clutch brakes. They've just got a straight Blitz diff in them, a Blitz gearbox, a flat top 90 horsepower Ford V8 that's got the crab distributor in the front. It's very simple to make. They were good for small arms fire, but in the islands, in the jungles, when they took them over there, they called them chicken coops. They had to put wire netting over them to stop the Japs from lobbing the grenades inside them.
Goodness me, I mean, you just try and imagine what it would be like to travel in a vehicle such as this. What does the thing weigh, Neville?
Oh, it's pretty light. It's only 4 tonne.
But you still wouldn't want that running over your big toe, Neville.
Oh, hell no. But they're very versatile. They will go over an unbelievable obstacle course.
Neville, thank you so much for turning up, mate, with this universal Bren Gun Carrier. What a versatile thing. I mean, ugly as all get out. I mean, they're not a pretty vehicle, are they?
Oh, mate, bloody hell, mate. In your eyes, it mightn't be. I think it's beautiful.
Good on you, Neville. Well done, mate. Keep up the good work in the preservation. This is history right here, and significant history as well. And well done, mate.
Thanks, mate. Good on you, Fletch.
Moving through, it's time for this great little bloke here. We have Aaron. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, Fletch.
That's the way, mate. Now, before we go any further, how old are you?
I'm turning 11, Fletch.
That is amazing. 11 years of age. Now, this is the new up-and-coming generation here for the military classic vehicle fraternity, which I think is very, very cool. Now, Aaron, what can you tell us about this Dodge behind us here?
Well, this vehicle actually used to be Phil Ryder's, and now it's Dave Argles, and he's been owning it for quite a while now, and I've always liked it. And I saw it when I went to his place down at the Del Rio. And when I saw it sitting in this shed, I went straight up to it because I love it.
What do you love so much about the Dodge? Why do you love it?
It's because it's four-wheel drive, and also that you can go off-road in it, and that you can sleep in the back because it's got stretchers.
Now, Aaron, you're dedicated here at Corowa. You're 11 years of age. You've been coming quite a while in your life now, and you're such an old school young guy. You carry a billy cart there behind you. What's all that about?
Well, that's to carry all my army gear around. I use it. This is the first year that it's ever been here, and also I use it at Menangle, and I use it just around the home to move firewood and other stuff. I've got 2 of them now.
Now, where do you see yourself in all of this military thing? Are you going to stay with it for the rest of your life and end up with your own vehicle one day?
Yes, I am. I really want to end up with this vehicle in my shed.
Yeah. Well, I reckon you're going to end up with it. You know that?
Yeah.
Isn't that cool? Isn't he a great little guy? That's what it's all about. Good on you, Aaron. Thanks for being on Classic Restos. Hope you have a great weekend.
I will. Thank you, Fletch.
You're watching the 37th annual GPA Swim-In military gathering here in Corowa, New South Wales, and you're seeing it first on Classic Restos. Back with more right after this.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannons,
We've also got Shannons home and contents cover.
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be.
Shannons.
Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
If you need a new piece of equipment for your workshop, you need Hare and Forbes Machinery House. Hare and Forbes Machinery House have showrooms around Australia and New Zealand that will have you browsing for hours. See the largest range of industrial and workshop DIY tools. You will be greeted by friendly, helpful staff, and you can buy from anywhere online at machineryhouse.com.au. Hare and Forbes Machinery House. Find your closest store at machineryhouse.com.au.
In 1926, Australia's Penrite Oil Company was established. Almost 90 years of research, development and refining under the harsh Australian conditions has made Penrite Oil what it is today. Precision, performance, reliability and protection. Championship winning products. Trust Penrite.
Now, Phil, there's such a range of military vehicles that have chosen to turn up for this midweek event. Now, tell us a story on yours, 1978 model, right?
That's correct. 1978 101 forward control. It's actually a gun tractor. Wow. The Australian Army, I believe, bought about 50 of them. and a couple got lost, one got burnt, and one sunk in some quicksand. So,
Apart from that, they had a good run.
they had a very good run. They towed their rapier missile round, and one strange story about the rapier missiles: they had to take the tyres off the trailer to fire the missiles, otherwise the tyres would have got scorched.
So before we go any further, what is the significance of the 101? What does that mean?
It's a 101-inch wheelbase. It's the only Land Rover that's got a 101-inch wheelbase, and it's got 6 studs. It's a special club called the 6 Studders. All Land Rovers are 5 studs. This has got 6. It's a pretty common 6 stud, but that's irrelevant. So,
Look, the thing sounds good. It's a V8. What's going on there?
it's a 3.5 litre Rover V8. It's all Range Rover running gear. It's got Salisbury diffs front and back. It's the only Land Rover with Salisbury front end, apart from an experimental one they made years ago. So,
Now, educate me here, Phil. This particular type of vehicle, although it's 1978, how long was the run manufactured for?
yeah, in the 60s, it was drawings in the 60s. We actually had a prototype vehicle come to Australia, which is still here now, and they had lots of the first one had a Ford 6-cylinder motor in it, which went well, but being a Rover, it ended up with a Rover V8. So, and they go really well.
Phil, where do military vehicles go back with you? Back to a little kid? Tell us what's going on there.
Yeah, my first car was an EH Holden, and I kept taking it in the bush and getting bogged, so I bought a 64 2A Land Rover, which I restored. The second one was a 67 2A, which I restored to full military plates and colours and everything like that. So, and our wedding car was a Land Rover, so it was all good from there. We've had quite a few. I've got quite a few Land Rovers at home as well. So
it's pretty safe to say, Phil, you fell out of the Land Rover tree and you hit every branch on the way down, didn't you?
and still hitting them on the way. So it's a disease. It's a Land Rover disease we get.
Yes, it's a mechanical thing. It doesn't matter if it's classic cars, bikes, trucks, military vehicles. Every person we speak to has a unique story with their particular vehicle, and that's what I love. Mate, great to catch up.
Thank you, Fletch. You're a gentleman. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Phil. If you're after the largest military gathering in the Southern Hemisphere, it is here, every year at Corowa. The Dodge played a massive role in the war effort. We have Dave to tell us more. How you doing, Dave?
Pretty good, Fletch.
That's the way. Now, this is kind of cool, what we've got behind us here. I don't mind it. I mean, it looks good. It's had a full resto, every nut and bolt. It's actually probably a classy-looking thing when it comes to military. What can you tell us about it?
It represents late war years. This vehicle could have been built between 1943 and 1945. They were pretty much the same at that point. They'd standardised them. This vehicle is a Command and Reconnaissance vehicle, and it was built to be used by officers as they went about their business, or to carry radio equipment. And if you look at the thing, the back seat is a long way back from the front seat, and there's room in there for a huge radio. And there's a map table on the back of the front seat. So it was used for communication purposes and by officers.
Dave, getting back to the stance of the vehicle, quite a wide track, low in profile in terms of height as well. It'd be fairly stable to drive. It gets back to, I think, attributing to the looks of this particular car.
This was an attempt to produce a low profile vehicle. The vehicle that preceded this was a half-ton Dodge. This is 3/4. And the half-ton Dodge stands taller, is more obvious a target on the battlefield. This, as I say, is low profile, nothing above the steering wheel when the windscreen's folded down.
Yeah. How does it perform? What's up front?
It's a 230 cubic inch Dodge 6-cylinder side valve, which was a very common power plant in those days.
You've done a wonderful job, Dave, on the restoration of this car. I mean, even the dashboard looks good. It's open, obviously, no roof on it. You can smell the vinyl. You can smell the seats. It's got that the new car smell, Dave. I mean, wow! You've gone all the way, haven't you?
It's only been on the road a couple of months, so it's virtually a new car. Yeah, the vinyl actually came from a woman in Germany that advertised on one of the forums. Parts have come from all over. Quite a few parts came in from America.
Look, thanks for catching up today. Wonderful talking to you. Aren't these guys interesting? Love the vehicles. As I said, the range right across the board. There's so much to see here at Corowa. And it's blokes like this that bring it all together. Thanks, mate.
You're welcome.
One mode of transport often overlooked back in wartime was not the motor car, it was the push bike. Time to see one on today's show from 1941. Time for Gino. Gee, I suppose you wish you brought a car. You've probably travelled a long way on this, right?
I have. I've travelled from Melbourne, yeah. It's actually went in the back of my Jeep, so I didn't really pedal all the way.
About to say, so you left 4 months ago to get here.
That's correct, yeah.
Mate, pretty cool 1941 push bike. What can you tell us about this?
Okay, it's a 1941 Schwinn DX. It was more than likely used by American forces during the war. The main bikes that they did use were Columbias and Huffmans. I picked this up from a guy who bought it from a guy in Queensland. It was in navy grey, and he assures me that it was used by or brought over by the US Navy. And I was a bit sceptical about it, but then when I stripped it down and I pulled the cranks out, they were dated 41, so that's how I got the age on it. And it's pretty much as close as you'll get to what they had back then in the day.
Gino, we have a look around, push bike frames. I guess they've changed over the years somewhat. Drum brake rear. The chain's pretty thick. Actually, that's a heavy-duty chain.
It's actually what they call a step tooth. So if you have a look at the sprocket, you have a look on a modern bike, the teeth are actually closer together. Yeah. But these ones here are actually spaced around about close to 1 inch apart. And it makes for a bit of a clunky ride, but that's how it was, I suppose, in those days.
During time as well, the shape of the handlebars too, and then evolving to the racing bikes where they used to flip them down the other way.
That's correct, yeah. It is. I had to get used to riding the handlebars that are shaped like this, but one advantage of it is I can actually lean down and ride, so that's perfect for me.
That's the go, mate. And at night when you want half a candle going, what's the go there with the Delta Winner light up front?
Yeah, the original Army ones were actually had no embossing on them because it was a thing during the war that there was no advertising on any military equipment. But I managed to find pretty much the exact same one, but with the embossing. Pretty rare, battery operated, and it gives a little bit of light, but you wouldn't want to be in too dark an area riding, that's for sure.
Good on you, Gino. Mate, great talking to you on your bike.
Thank you very much, Fletch.
Oh yeah, how cool's this? Check out the seat, got a bit of leather work going on there, got studs around the perimeter, a couple of valve springs out of a Model A Ford, and got some holes bored in the top there to let the wind out of her when you're sitting on her. And if you like your classic Americana, well, why not reward yourself and take a Fletch tour? Have a look at this.
There is nothing quite like a Fletch tour. Carlisle or Ford Nationals, GM Nationals and Chrysler Nationals await you.
On a Fletch tour, you don't have to worry about a thing.
I can't believe how good it's been.
Experience Route 66.
We're definitely coming back to do Route 66.
Or choose the Detroit tour, attending the Woodward Dream Cruise.
On a Fletch tour, every day just gets better and better.
You've got to do something in your life, you've got to do a Fletch tour.
There are 5 Fletch tours. See fletchtours.com or contact All Things Travel, Lara.
Penrite, Australian-made, family-owned and operated. Make premium quality engine and racing oils, warranty-approved coolants, automatic transmission and manual gear oils, a complete range of engine and fuel additives, heavy-duty and industrial products for every application. Visit penriteoil.com for more information. Penrite, Australian-made for Australian conditions since 1926.
If you need a new piece of equipment for your workshop, you need Hare and Forbes Machinery House. From a garage jack through to a lathe, Hare and Forbes has the range. And Hare and Forbes Machinery House are Australian owned, established since 1930. You will be greeted by friendly, helpful staff, and you can buy from anywhere online at machineryhouse.com.au. Hare and Forbes Machinery House. Find your closest store at machineryhouse.com.au.
I spend a lot of time out here. The RT Charger's the real deal. An E49. Remember A-Charger? I've always got projects on the go, so Shannon's laid-up cover helps protect my restorations. I'm Mopar through and through. It's a passion Shannon's understands. I wouldn't insure my cars and bikes with anyone else.
Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
Time for a small car now on today's show. We have Dave. How you doing, Dave?
Very well, thank you, Fletch.
That's the way. We have a Vauxhall. What year are we talking?
We're talking 1938.
My goodness. An incredible car. I mean, what gets me is how narrow the thing is. I mean, don't you feel like you're going to fall out of it every time you go around a corner?
You certainly do, and you got to choose your friends very wisely.
Absolutely.
They're pretty close.
This car is probably the cause of you losing some.
Well, it could be. Depends on your driving.
With all due respect, a war vehicle as seen. Now, this is the interesting part. Where was this vehicle used in the war effort?
Well, this vehicle was used in Western France with a US Army Special Operations Group, spreading information and misinformation to elude and to confuse the enemy, basically.
Wow, so a propaganda vehicle.
Propaganda vehicle, yes. And a psychological warfare really was the part of it.
Hence the speakers up on top with the microphone, right?
Speakers on the top, microphone in the cab, yes, would pull into a village square, announce that it was there and coordinate the people to come into the square and explain what's going on.
See, isn't this amazing? I keep on talking about the variants here at this, the Corowa swim in here for the military gathering. I mean, it just keeps getting more and more interesting. Now, what powers this little car up front, or should I say, what lets it down?
Well, it's only got 10 horses, mate. Not very good, and only a 30-litre tank of fuel, so she's not going to go very far or very fast.
Now, it's a replica clone, right?
Exactly, yes, yeah. We came across some photos of a 38 Vauxhall in the province of villages in France, and with this scenario, and we've replicated that with this particular Vauxhall and included those numbers of that photo on the bonnet.
I think that's marvellous. I really do. And to choose this type of vehicle too, I mean, it gets you wondering as to how many different types of vehicles were used back in wartime. I mean, we've got our ambulances, we've got our water trucks, we've got our gun carriers, and now a vehicle that was used for this purpose.
Yeah, well, very much a civilian car, which was requisitioned by the US Army, and I mean, they took what they needed and used it accordingly.
And we have a look in the interior. Very nicely done. You've done that quite well. And the dashboard in its entirety is quite a smart little layout for the year.
Yep. No, it's interior has not been touched since we've had it. You see some moth holes in the hood lining and stuff, so it's all original. And I mean, the dash has got a couple extra switches in it that I've had to put in, but that's all. Other than that, it's all there.
Dave, thank you so much for being on today's show. This is truly a unique vehicle, and this is why I've chosen it to be on today's episode. Very, very unique, and it just, as I said earlier, it just makes you keep on thinking about all the things that happened back in those times.
Yep, exactly. Horrible times, and hopefully we never have to face that again.
All right.
Terrific.
Take care, Dave.
Thanks very much, Fletch. Good on you. Thank you.
The lady we blame each and every year for such an incredible military gathering here in Corowa, New South Wales, we have Jan. How you doing, Jan?
Good, thank you, Fletch.
Another huge year.
Very big, very big. I'd say we're probably looking at, could be somewhere between 250 and 300 vehicles, maybe more on the 250 side, but we'll know within the next few days.
The KVE Club, the committee, do a marvellous job here. The largest military gathering in the Southern Hemisphere. You guys should be pretty proud of that.
Yes, we are, and this is the 37th year.
Wow. Almost 40 years coming to Corowa. I mean, how good is it for the region as well?
Oh, they love it. They absolutely love it when we come into town. All the hotels do really well, the wineries do well, the restaurants do well.
Yeah, I know when you're in town the wineries do well, I know that. Now, Jan, tell us quickly, what's going on with the tank behind us?
Okay, this tank's come down from Cairns. There's a military museum in Cairns and they've contacted us and said that they would bring it down. So it's just arrived and it's a German tank and I think it's just going to be probably one of the centrepieces for the weekend.
How cool is that? Every year here there's spotlight emphasis. Now this year we've had
Year of the Chrysler 2 and Year of the Tank.
And if you're wondering what Chrysler 2 is, well, it means it's what? The second time around for Chrysler here.
Yes, that's correct.
Now 2017 spotlight emphasis, what are we looking at there, Jan?
Okay, Year of the International and Year of the Carrier. So we will have Bren Gun Carriers, Universal Carriers, any type of carrier, plus as many international trucks as we can get.
Every year there's just something different.
There sure is. And then the year after that is Year of the Land Rover. So I think that's going to be a massive year, probably looking at least 300 vehicles.
Talk about Jan being ahead of herself. We're in 2018 already.
Yes, sure are.
Okay, now website details on the bottom of the screen. Want to drop that for us, Jan?
Okay, Corowa swim-in.org.
There you go. Try and get here for 2017. It's an incredible event. Jan, thank you so much for throwing it all together again. Well done.
Thank you very much, Fletch, for being here with us.
Well, there you go. There's just some of the 2016 37th Annual GPA Swim-In and Military Gathering here in Corowa in New South Wales. And if you can make it here for 2017, it'll be well worth your while. In the meantime, no matter where you're watching Classic Restos from, until next week, please ride and drive safe. I'm Fletch, and I thank you very much for watching.
You can like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Classic Restos TV and watch catch-up episodes at shannons.com.au. Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons Insurance, Penrite Oil, Hare and Forbes Machinery House and Pace Farm Eggs.